Usual suspects injured. Flournoy will be out. Darius Rogers will be out Saturday as well. Antoine Woods and Jabari Ruffin will be out. So that's 20 guys will not be available Saturday. 11 of those guys have been surgeries, with the last being Randall having surgery today, and then George next week. So that's kind of theme of spring, very physical, as we've kind of come down to one practice left here in the spring game, and a lot of really good things. Usual players making big plays kind of every day, and so Saturday we will figure out. We don't really know exactly what we're doing yet as far as play count and how many, because our numbers, we only have one tight end available at all and one fullback available really, so we'll figure something out between now and then.
What's Telfer's issue?
Telfer is his knee, and he is having knee surgery. We had it today at noon, and he'll be 4 to 6 weeks. And same as Silas.
George Yuko? Or
No. George Farmer. Because the ACL, they got to rest for a little bit first.
So he's going to have.
I think he's going early next week.
Okay.
Is that 20 scholarship guys?
That is mostly scholarship. There are a couple walk-ons in there.
So can you have a spring scrimmage? I mean, your fans want to come out and see what are they going to get to see?
Well, I think you'll still see the stars out there. Some of the stars, out there and making plays. We're just going to have to be creative, just because we're not going to be able to go at the same speed between series, and obviously we can't have two teams going one tight end all when all of our formations use a tight end. So we'll figure it out. Probably just maybe a little more time between series and figure it out. Any ideas?
Are you going to jump in there like you did today?
No, I'm not. We'd be in a lot of trouble if I did. We were just running the service team. We lost Simi. I don't know where he went to, so we lost our back. So it was Trey Madden and I were our backfield today.
Has it affected the team, the mood of the team at all? Do you think that all these injuries, the limited scholarships and everything?
As far as for the spring or in general?
In spring, just for the spring.
No, I don't think so. I think that they realized we talked a lot about this in the first week of how it was going to be, kind of survivor-ish, and so they knew what was coming, and we just kept going. And there's some good parts of it. I think our guys that are still healthy are playing more physical than they were at the end of last year, and our front seven on defense is better because of it. But at the same time, obviously, we have a lot of players out.
Now that spring practice is kind of coming to an end, you guys had a lot of early enrollees this year. Can you talk a little bit about the progress they've made over the spring?
Yeah, it's been great. I wish we had more spots. We maximized our 7 spots. I wish we had more available because it really has been such an impact for us to bring guys in right away like this, as opposed to waiting until the fall, especially because of where our numbers are at. So I can't imagine those guys doing better. Darius and Sua got banged up here and missed some time, but we're doing great before that. And obviously kind of the quarterback and the tailback has kind of been the hits of the guys as far as being able to stay healthy and making a ton of plays.
How important was it to have Sua here to see everything he could do for the defense?
Yeah, really important. Like I said, I wish we had more spots because bringing these guys in and getting on them early, a number of them we got their class schedules, a year or 2 years ago and started working on this so they could graduate early because we knew where these numbers were going to be, and it's such an impact to have them here just from not just what you would think the 15 practices, that's obvious, but the maturity standpoint of next fall of going through a semester of college and now summer. It's almost like they're sophomores by the time we get to next year.
A couple of guys said they're actually nervous for the spring game on Saturday. Do you think that kind of carries over to next fall so they're a little less nervous for their first game?
Sure it does. Anytime that you've been able to be in the setting where you're going to go, being in the Coliseum and having some fans there and getting out some of those jitters is really good.
In your experience, has there ever been someone that's really stood out in this scrimmage that's kind of catapulted them into a position going into the fall where they?
I don't know. I would have to think more about that or go back over the stats. I can't remember, the Saturdays compared to the spring games. I don't remember.
Would Sua play corner, true corner next season if you needed him to?
Yeah, I don't think so. You know, he's 225 pounds. He could be 235. So I just think he's just too big. Now he can play in the slot, play nickel like he was doing before he got hurt. He'd be really good in there.
Because of this situation, if this kind of thing continued into the fall, would you consider playing Marquise at cornerback?
I did just think about that this week. Really with both of them, you know, arguably they would be our best two corners, Marquise and Nelson, in that day when we flipped them over and they didn't even know what they were doing over there and hadn't been coached. I thought about it, you know, because I thought, well, you do it in high school a lot of times, but the speed of the game, and I don't know. I just don't know how he can. Those guys could take that amount of plays, especially in this conference, because the defense. You know, you got games where you're playing 90 snaps of defense. Maybe in a limited role, but my fear there is that if we do that, he's going to be less productive on offense, you know, because of more reps and just the exhaustion of doing that. So then we're getting some play out of a corner over there, but then we're losing arguably the best offensive player in the country, production. So I've thought about it, maybe. Hopefully we won't be in a situation with numbers so low that we'd have to do that.
What do you want to see from the quarterbacks this afternoon?
Same as always. Anytime we go in there, you know, timing, accuracy, and decision making. You know, going in there and really doing what they've done. You know, they have really limited turnovers in the Coliseum this spring, which is very different than last. If you think about last spring, how much we were turning the ball over, especially at quarterback. With our starters, so it's been really good. It's been a big emphasis after last year. You know, we got the ball back more last year than we had, but we turned the ball over at an alarming rate. That was a big reason for the season being the way the season has been. You know, there's an article the other day on ESPN. You know, if you look at the Pac-12 over the last 3 years, you look over at the turnover margin, it almost matches the win-losses of the teams and ranked in order. You know, we're in the middle at +1 over 3 years. I think we're 25 and 13 or whatever. So it's a little bit off, but for the most part, it goes Oregon, Stanford, and then kind of goes down to everybody else.
Where's Max Brown? Is it Max and Cody and Max Brown? Or is Max
No, there's not a 1, 2, 3. They're all in there. Max Brown took some reps with the ones today, and we'll sit down and figure out where we're at in the spring after we go back over everything.
How has Linda been able to ride the momentum of his freshman year into this spring?
Yeah, we've been really hard on Leonard. I think that trying to learn from maybe a mistake we made last year with those 5 freshman All-Americans, maybe not being hard enough on them because they're reading about how great they are everywhere and how they'll be preseason All-Americans. So we've been really hard on Leonard, demanding. Played him at end tackle, played him in a 4-eye and a 3. So really pushed him and was really responding.
That's good.